But, man, we are so lucky to have this guy. Both Bernie and I think he's the best ever. Was and still is. BillO'Reilly.com is the place to go. News, columns, video, TV. Nobody does it better than Bill. His latest column, Biden, His Time, funny title, is out. And, of course, Joe Biden is all the rage. A picture just yesterday hugging the Statue of Liberty on the front of the New York Post. So here he is for his weekly Thursday appearance. The man, the best ever, Bill O'Reilly. Good morning, Bill.
Hey, great intro. The check is in the mail. You know that cliche.
Well, it's
intro.
all true. It's very sincere, and it's all true. You are the best. This article is great. I tell you, what I liked about this article, too, is in the sports reference, you kind of handicap the whole race, Bill. You talk about all of the other Democrats involved in this alongside Joe Biden, and you give some good, educated examples as to why they really don't have a shot.
Well, I think the Democratic Party's in trouble, and I think the poobahs who run it, and that's from the DNC, the people who dole out the money, the campaign cash, set up the convention for the presidency, all that, I think they know they're in trouble. So the basic strategy is twofold. Number one, have the House of Representatives investigate Trump for everything he's ever done, his family, everything. Hope, pray you get something, all right, so you can malign him further because the Russian collusion thing fell apart. The second thing is have everybody run. Everybody. Now, I know Girk is going to announce tomorrow he is going to run for president on a Democratic ticket. I mean, that's how far they've Bernard McGurk.
That's right. I'm in.
But, you know, he could carry New York. So you basically have a whole bunch of people saying, look, you know, there's no downside. I'm going to get famous. That's going to lead to maybe a book, lectures, whatever I want to do, and then maybe I'll come back 4 years from now. But none of these people, if you look at it on paper right now, have a chance to beat Donald Trump. That could change. A guy like Beto O'Rourke, who the press loves, or lionizing him, he could gain a little bit. But some of these people's resumes are so horrible that you say if you run for the general election, people figure out who you really are, you don't have any shot at all.
And if America saw, Bill, these pandering idiot Democratic candidates practically forming a conga line this week in New York to kiss ass clown Al Sharpton's butt. I mean, if middle America, if everybody saw this, I mean, I think their resumes would even be worse. It would be worse for them, no doubt.
Well, let's take Mr. O'Rourke, for example. I mean, he is a charismatic guy who ran a tough race against Ted Cruz in Texas, lost by 200,000 votes in a very conservative state that's changing rapidly. So Beto O'Rourke basically tells the nation, you know, there's really no problem at the southern border. And everybody looks and goes, well, in March alone, 200,000 migrants got into the United States. 200,000. According to Border Patrol. Mm-hmm. And you, Beto O'Rourke, who lives in El Paso, says there's no problem on the border? I mean, that's like saying after 9/11, this Muslim thing's no big deal.
Right?
Same
right.
Crazy.
Eyes wide shut.
Then O'Rourke goes to Sharpton and he goes, you know, let's study reparations for slavery. I think that's a pretty good idea.
After having said
anything about that, if you know anything about the Civil War, if you know anything about slavery, you know that would be impossible to dole out money to individuals in 2020, or whenever it might be, all right, based upon what happened to their ancestors 170 years ago. It's impossible.
Right.
Yet they're doing this stuff, and I believe that Americans are just going, you know what? This is now becoming a fringe party, the Democrats. And that's not a good thing. We need two vibrant parties in this country.
Agreed. And what I took from your article, which was great, was with all these issues with these women that are coming out almost every single day for Biden, who I want to remind people remains the odds-on favorite to win, even though he has not announced he's running yet. He's ahead of Bernie Sanders in most polls. Your article pretty much says these women are not his big problem. The bigger problem is the radical left, who doesn't want him to win and will gobble him up and spit him out.
That's where this came from. If you look at this woman who started this Miss Flores. Radical leftist, done it before, same thing. This is the playbook. We don't want you around, and every American has to know this by this time. We're going to accuse you of misconduct because you can't defend yourself, and the press will run wild with it, and we'll get you damaged, and they've damaged Biden. And now Biden's going around going, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry I was born.
It's embarrassing. It really is. That statement he put out yesterday was ridiculous. Plus, the audio was horrible. But he also has built this problem of the Ukraine. His son worked for a company. They were being investigated by a prosecutor in the Ukraine, Biden's son, Hunter. And Biden actually is on tape saying that he threatened the Ukraine government that if they didn't fire the prosecutor, he would withhold, and the United States would withhold $1 billion. And so he has a problem more than with just these women, with some Ukrainian connections as well.
But that's not going to get any traction. I mean, it's just too complicated and all over the place. But the other stuff, late night comics, it just goes on and on. And, it's a real threat. This is a real threat to our country because nobody is safe.
So does he get in?
No man in this country is safe.
Does he get in the race or does he not?
Yeah, I still think Biden knows that the money will flow into him, that most likely Barack Obama will endorse him, and that he's got a shot. So I think Biden will. But you just don't know what else the progressive guys are going to do. They don't want him in. He's not radical enough. He's a capitalist, and he's a white guy.
Right.
They don't want him.
But you would agree that if he does get in, he deserves to be the odds-on favorite to win that side.
Well, the polls say that. I don't know about deserves. I don't know if he's earned that position, but the polls say that most Democrats, and again, it's tied into Barack Obama. Biden has to tie himself into President Obama, who's still revered and loved in the Democratic Party.
In a big way.
Yeah.
One other thing, Bill, and the national politics is great, but what's great about you is that you live here. You're one of us. You're a New Yorker. You're on Long Island. We love to discuss local issues, too, on this show, because that's what New Yorkers really do care about. The Quinnipiac poll came out yesterday talking about de Blasio and Cuomo and AOC. AOC had some pretty good numbers in terms of popularity and the job she's doing here in New York. Cuomo's were okay. De Blasio, not very good. I'm sure you saw the poll. What about these local politicians?
Well, I think Congresswoman Ocasio is going to be a champion of the minority community in New York City. It doesn't matter what she does or says. They say, oh, the cliche, go get 'em, girl, or you go, girl, or whatever. So she's going to poll okay. It's a minority-driven play, but certainly, a high-profile person like her looking out for them is a good situation for them, minority community in New York. Cuomo, I don't think his support's real deep. He gave himself a nice raise. He's getting $250,000 a year up there in Albany.
Unbelievable.
Buy a nice condo in Albany for that.
Yeah.
The guy's a flip-flopper. He's an opportunist. He wants to be president someday. The abortion thing was just appalling, awful. And de Blasio's a communist. I look at him and I go, how did you even get here? How did this happen? In a city where you've had LaGuardia, you've had Koch, you've had Giuliani, larger than life. Now, this guy is larger than life. He's 6'10".
Yeah.
But he's such a doofus. And I can't say with all due respect, city, if you walk that city, just walk it. It's falling apart.
It really is.
And how much more can you tax people? This whole toll if you drive below 60th Street. This is just another tax.
Congestion pricing, a commuter tax, basically.
Yeah, it's just another tax. They're just going to find a way to take your socks, your underwear, everything.
No, you're right about that, Bill O'Reilly. We're heading back to the 1970s in this city, New York, and maybe the state as well. It's really scary. It doesn't look good. Look, the book is called, it's coming out. It's the United States of Trump. You can pre-order it at BillO'Reilly.com. It's going to be a wonderful read like Bill's other books, all of them. BillO'Reilly.com is better than any cable channel you can possibly watch. Bill, we thank you for appearing on the Bernie and Sid Show.
Okay, guys, I really appreciate it. It's always fun every week. Thank you.
It is great. You're great, and enjoy the action. I wonder if he's going out in NASCAR. He's going out to Queens today for the Mets. He probably is. He was at Yankee Stadium last Thursday. I'm sure he's going to Queens today. 1-800-848-WABC.